Hello, welcome to PlayStation Access. My name is Rob. We're joined today by Alex.
Hello, everyone.
It's time. Ghost of Yōtei is upon us. It comes out on the 2nd of October. We've been playing it loads. Alex, you finished the game. Have you platinumed it yet?
No, not unfortunately. I'm close. 94% of the trophies. I'm getting close.
Very close to the platinum. There's a bunch of things to talk about. I think just the stuff we should get out of the way immediately is, my God, it's huge, it's beautiful, it's so epic.
Yeah.
It's everything that I loved personally about Tsushima, but just more and better and more beautiful. And
absolutely, straight away I was struck. Within the first 10 minutes of booting the game up, I just thought, wow, okay, this is incredible. We're getting more of that Tsushima magic, but perhaps even taken up a notch, which I thought probably wasn't even possible. It is amazing.
It's an astoundingly good-looking game, which we will get onto. But the first thing I want to talk about, and I think this is the core thing for Yotei, right? It's the combat. It's the wish fulfillment of playing a wandering mercenary in this era of Japanese history. So for anyone who doesn't know, the game takes place 300 years after the events of Ghost of Tsushima. So we're not following the story of Jin Sakai anymore. We're following the story of Atsu, out for revenge. But in terms of like how it plays moment to moment, anyone who's played Tsushima will feel immediately at home.
Absolutely, yeah. The DNA of Tsushima is here, but it feels like the player's given lots of fun new tools, which I've had an amazing time with over the last 50 hours that I've put into the game.
So in Tsushima, you had different stances that you could switch between on the fly by holding down on R2, I believe, and then pressing one of the face buttons.
Yes.
Here, it's a similar system, but instead of stances, you have weapons.
Yes.
New weapons entirely, which I've been massively enjoying. And they do work kind of strategically the same as how the stances work in Tsushima, in that different weapons are effective against different enemy types.
Yes.
But let's just chat about them, Alex. What's your favourite, would you say, of the new weapons?
The Kusarigama is my favourite. Sort of on the one, it's like a chain, but on one end is a little sickle, and on the other end is like a big sphere, a solid block. And it's an amazing weapon for like crowd control. So when you find yourself surrounded, if your stealth's gone a little bit wrong and you're surrounded by enemies, you can crack the Kusarigama out and swing it around, breaking loads of enemies' shields at the same time. It makes you feel like an absolute badass, that weapon. I absolutely love it. It's just wild. It's a weapon that really lets you live out that power fantasy, I think, because it's so confounding for enemies as well. But to be honest, all the weapons I think have got really cool skill sets. There's really cool things you can do with each weapon. As you mentioned, there is almost like a sort of rock, paper, scissors system here a little bit with the weapons, so certain weapon types are good against other weapon types, but each one is viable in its own right. I've also quite enjoyed just using the dual katanas because they're so
that's
quick.
My favourite.
Yeah.
Dual katanas are my favourite, and they're effective against enemies with like long-reaching weapons and spears and pole arms and whatnot, just because they are so quick.
Yeah.
But just on the weapons, I want to talk about the training missions that you will typically get before you unlock the ability to use one of these weapons. And I really enjoyed how those training missions are portrayed. It's not just a case of use the weapon and kill a bunch of bad guys. You've learned how to use the weapon. You probably feel like you're being trained up by someone who is an expert in that particular weapon type. And there's something, obviously, there's huge influences from classic samurai movies, the movies of Kurosawa. I think there's something quite Kill Bill-esque also in the whole narrative setup. It's like you're out for revenge against these horrible 6 people who have wronged you and your family.
Yeah.
And obviously Kill Bill, partly inspired by the same classic samurai movies that Tsushima and now Yotei have been inspired by. But anyone who's watched those movies will know this type of scene, this training scene, where you start out rubbish, and the dual katana one in particular, Atsu is learning how to use her left hand, and you have to do one of the bamboo strikes. But all of the prompts are like buttons that will be on your left hand. So it's like L1,
it's so good.
The D-pad, clicking in L3. And the first one it gives you is so deliberately awkward and hard to pull off that your left hand will be like, oh, I can't make it move quick enough to do it. And it's so brilliantly mimics Atsu's struggles in trying to learn how to use her left hand to wield a sword.
So clever.
And you might be able to do it if you're really good, but I couldn't. And I completely failed to chop through the bamboo. And the guy was like, "Man, this is going to take a long time.
We're going to be here for a while."
Like, it is. But then, you do the training, and this takes place over the course of like, a 15-20 minute mission. And by the end of it, the prompts are a little bit more kind on you, and you feel like, oh yeah, and now I'm amazing at using my left hand, and it creates like a little bit of a narrative, an emotional bond with the new weapons that you unlock.
Yeah.
You feel like, oh, I've earned the right to use this weapon now, and then actually deploying it in combat. I find immensely satisfying. Like the dual katanas, when you break through like an enemy's defense and you stagger them, and you get that window of opportunity to really go for it.
Yeah, whirlwind of blades.
Whirlwind of blades, and you finish them off.
Oh, it's so good.
It's great.
The weapons do, as you say, they sort of take on their own character a little bit. And I want to shout out the Yari spear as well, because this gives you a little bit of a ranged option in terms of being able to keep enemies at arm's length. But shout out to the Typhoon kick skill. And each weapon has got some fun skills to unlock, but I really like this. This is a very much like this is Sparta, like this is Yotei. The amount of times I've shouted it as I've kicked an enemy off a cliff. Oh, I love it. It's amazing.
It's amazing. And we should also mention the other weapon, the Odachi.
Yes.
The one we haven't mentioned, which is like a big sword, big two-hander, long reach.
Big weapon.
So if you come up against, you get the classic brute style enemy, this is the weapon you want to get
take them
using
down
on them.
Yeah.
But you also have ranged weapons as well. You have bows like we did in Tsushima, but the new addition for Yotei, Alex, if you can talk about this, is the guns, the firearms.
So there's a rifle with different types of ammunition. The enemies use them, so why shouldn't you? The rifle really gives you a quite a different option to the bow. The bow obviously has drop off and is a much stealthier option. This is a much more of a, if you're in the middle of combat and you need to deal with some ranged opponents quickly, you crack your rifle out, but you have to be quite precise. The reload takes a little bit of time. These are quite primitive guns compared to what we see these days, so that it requires a bit of forethought. My favourite though is the pistol, which you get quite a bit later on in the game, but it has been revealed in trailers, so I think I'm okay to mention it. The pistol's great. It's a quick fire weapon that you can use if you're in a pinch. If an enemy's staggered you and you're in serious trouble, just quickly tap R1, pop the enemy with your pistol, and then they're dealt with. There's some really fun options for more ranged weapons, and there's also loads of fun tools as well I really like in the game, like the different bombs you get, smoke bombs, scorch bombs for fire, kunai that you can throw. The game gives you so many tools to deal with all sorts of different situations. Some of those are great for stealth, some of them are great for combat, and there's a lot here for the player to experiment with, and you can really have fun with a lot of these tools as well. I've had a lot of fun playing around with opponents with these things.
The standoff system is back.
Oh, yes.
We should mention the standoffs. I don't think these will ever not be amazingly cool. The big problem for me is I find it immensely fun sneaking around and assassinating everybody, and that was the first skill tree I immediately unlocking everything here.
Yeah,
chaining 3 assassinations together.
Oh, that's great.
Being able to assassinate leaders, enemy leaders.
I love the decapitation.
So the prompt turns from assassinate into slaughter, and Atsu just from behind decapitates immediately.
It's brutal, yeah.
So you can do that against bounties as well. You can slaughter bounties.
Can you? Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
There was the bounty where I had to track down 3. It was like the terrible 3 or something.
Yeah.
I snuck up behind every one of them and slaughtered them.
Amazing.
It was so incredibly satisfying. And I always like doing that in games, and I think it's credit to Ghost of Yōtei that the standoff system is so cool that I genuinely don't know which I like doing more.
Wow.
And it's just like, should I stealth this one? Or, no, I'll do the standoff.
Yeah,
I'll fight them honourably. And then you just get into this amazing...
They're just so cool. The standoffs are so cool. When it all goes quiet and you're waiting for the opponent to make the first move. Oh, it's so cool.
It's incredibly cinematic, especially when you pair it with Kurosawa mode, which is back, which adds this beautiful monochrome cinematic filter that gives off the essence of the films of Akira Kurosawa, which is fantastic. For genre fans, it's an absolute dream. We should talk about the wolf very quickly in combat as well. New addition for Yotei. You'll have seen the wolf in trailers. We won't go into too much detail and spoil anything about the significance of the wolf, but it is there in combat and occasionally can come and help Atsu, particularly when she's in a pinch. Honestly. Like I've had the wolf arrive when I'm pretty much dead. I'm like, I'm going to die here. And then the wolf comes out of nowhere, and you're like, yes!
I love it. It's just at the last second it arrives to save the day. The wolf is amazing, and as you say, we don't want to spoil too much, but there's lots of really cool interactions with the wolf and cool things you can do. The wolf has its own skill tree, so you can unlock lots of fun things for the wolf to not just help in combat, but also help with standoffs and other bits and bobs as well. I really like the addition of the wolf, and the wolf has got me out of trouble many, many times.
Same here. I've been on the floor, literally dead, and the enemies do that thing, the end suffering thing, where they'll have their spear, they're about to bring it down into me, and the wolf comes and just bites the hand off.
It's so good.
And I'm still alive.
Yeah.
And then you get your second wind.
Reversal of fortune like that's so cool.
It's great. Combat as smooth and as satisfying as you would expect.
It's incredible,
for anyone who's played Tsushima, with some new added toys to enjoy.
Oh yes.
My favourite thing is still slaughtering a group of enemies and then slowly walking away. In Tsushima, you played the flute. Here you play the shamisen,
yes.
which is a stringed instrument, and I absolutely love just walking around after a fight, just casually playing my shamisen.
It's kind of weird about that. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
It's great. I love role playing this in different, wandering, mercenary badass. Who's like, cool. You might look at me as like a little person playing my shamisen, but if you come near me, I will kill you.
Oh dear.
It's very cool. Exploration. We should get onto now. That's the other one of the big things. The world. I mean, you've seen it in the trailers, I imagine. It's ridiculously beautiful, though.
I don't understand how a game can look this good. It is so beautiful. And I'm like a very task-oriented sort of gamer who's like, well, we'll just go here and do this. But I find myself stopping constantly and just looking at the world. There was a sequence at night where the moon was just perfectly positioned in the sky, and I got off my horse and I just had a stroll just for a minute, just through the wilderness with the moon in the sky.
Yeah.
The game is, it looks incredible. I just don't understand how it's possible. The game just looks amazing.
It does. I did encourage anyone to go and check out the barnacle graphics. The barnacle graphic. You go to a coastal area and any sort of like rock that's like occasionally submerged by the waves coming up the beach, and then the waves will come and then the rock will then be exposed. Go up to the rock and check out the glistening barnacles on those rocks. Especially if you've got the sun in the right position in the sky to really, like at sunset. Like this, I don't know how they do it, Sucker Punch, but the light bloom on the sun when it peeks through clouds, or when it's just setting over the water, when it's coming through the canopy of a forest. It's outstanding. It's shining through the grass.
The game has just a way of constantly putting you in beautiful. Even if you're on the ground, you're not particularly high up. Just looking around you, there's beautiful colours in the distance.
Yeah.
The game just has a way of constantly. You are surrounded by just a beautiful world. Doesn't matter. High up, obviously, you can see lots of beautiful things down below, but just constantly you're at a perspective where you're like, this looks gorgeous, looking over a lake, or look, the world is beautiful, and you're constantly like, I'd find myself stopping to take screenshots all the time, which is very unusual for me. So
photo mode's great as well. We should mention
the photo mode is really good.
It's a really sophisticated,
very
strong
system,
photo mode. Yeah. But it's an amazing world to explore, and there are separate, distinct regions of the open world, each that have their own sort of flavour and colour and vibe. So there's a lot of variety in there as well. So that's like you start out in the grasslands with Mount Yotei in the distance, and then you'll soon explore other areas as well. It's no surprise, I think, but I'm always sort of like taken aback when you're actually playing the game by how beautiful it actually looks like this.
It's just I can't wrap my head around it. I just don't understand how the game looks. It's probably, I think it might be the best looking game on PS5. I'm just going to say
it's
got to be up there.
It's up there. There's like it's got like a stylized quality to it as well that I think, it really leans into that cinematic feel. It's amazing just wandering around the world. I love galloping along through the fields alongside that herd of wild horses occasionally, and you're just there galloping with you. It just feels magical.
It does.
You get a speed boost by galloping through the white flowers.
I do like that.
As well. That's also brilliant. Much like Tsushima, there's very sort of the way it signposts points of interest to you are very in-world and organic. So you can see like columns of smoke rising on the horizon, but there are birds again, there are foxes again. Yes, you can stroke them. And they will guide you to points of interest like altars and shrines. And I love the sense that I'm not constantly bogged down by waypoints on my map, and that these things sort of reveal themselves it feels natural. It feels like I'm noticing things in the world as I play it, and that really, I think, increases that sense of organic discovery, which I think is crucial when you're going through an open world game. You want to feel like you are discovering the things.
Absolutely.
And whilst the game is gently nudging you in these directions, like the way it does it makes you feel like you're great and an explorer.
I absolutely agree, and also having like a cartographer, I think, is good if you are sort of if you are sort of perhaps a little bit wondering where you should be going next, or if you've perhaps hit a bit of a wall, the cartographer will give you little pieces of map to stick on your own map, which you have to do yourself, which is a very cool little feature. And then those will point you to altars of reflection where you can grab some more skills. So I think having a little bit of help with discovering those things is always good in games. I spent a lot of my money at the cartographer. Like, you can help me out with the map, you know, I just want to know where I'm going. So it's there if you need it, which is really, really helpful.
Altars of reflection. You always want to be finding those.
They're really helpful.
I just like the way sometimes you'll stumble across one and they're marked by those little statues with like golden hats on. So there's just little, again, within the world, little visual cues. Always. Without ever just putting something, you know, your map isn't filled with way markers, and I like that. I really like it. And again, I enjoy the way it encourages you to sometimes spend some quiet time reflecting as well, much like Tsushima did. So the hot springs are back, where you can reflect on different elements of the story. You get an increase in health, I believe.
Indeed, yes.
If you find a hot spring. And then, I guess, replacing the haikus, you can paint.
I really like this feature. Atsu, as part of her bond with her parents, is one of the skills that they have sort of passed on to her. She finds locations in the world where she'll stop and do a sumi-e painting. I believe that's how it's pronounced. And it's just stopping, living, being surrounded by nature, stopping, and just using the touchpad. You do every stroke of the brush, and it feels so, just the sound that comes out of the controller as well, it feels like you are painting. It's incredible how they've managed to create that feeling. And you create these beautiful scenes from nature. There might be one that's beautiful, sort of birds, sort of drinking from a river, or there might be one that's some crabs on a beach. There's many of them in the game, and they're all beautiful, and they all go up on the wall in your home hub, so you can revisit them. It's a way to like break up, I think, there's a lot of fighting and a lot of conflict, and it's really nice to have those moments where you just stop and you have a quiet moment to appreciate just how beautiful this place is. You know, it's a really, really cool little feature, and the touchpad integration is amazing.
I agree. You can really play the game at a clip if you want to. The game is great at loading you immediately into the action and whisking you onto the next thing. If you want to really zip through it, you can. I really like playing the game slowly. I really like that the game affords me the opportunity within the actual fabric of the game itself to have these slower paced, more reflective moments as well. And I enjoy the painting immensely. There's something incredibly therapeutic and serene about just stroking the touchpad, creating these beautiful works of art, reflecting on nature. It's great. We should mention the bounties as well. I want to touch upon in terms of exploration. So this is a really cool system.
It is very cool.
You probably know how this works. There's a bounty guy, the bounties go up on the poster, and you hunt them down, you kill them, you get money. But lots of them are they're like their own mini stories, their own side stories, and very often there'll be a story behind the bounty. They're not always just horrible villains.
Indeed.
They'll have like an actual meaty bit of story too.
Some of them are genuinely quite sad and sort of bittersweet, and you know, these people have had to do some terrible things to survive, and that's why they've got a bounty. And it's just interesting how some of them hold up a bit of a mirror to Atsu in that way. And there's a lot of interesting character work here. These aren't just go and find bad guy and deal with bad guy. There's a lot to these stories, and you learn quite a lot about some of these bounties as well. The bounty system is probably one of my favourite features in the game. There's a lot to it.
I agree. And we should mention that Atsu also has a bounty. Like Lord Saito, the head of the Yotei 6, has put a bounty on Atsu, which increases as you go through the story, and you become more of a thorn in the side of Lord Saito.
Indeed.
And so you can rip down these posters that have you on them, but also it does mean you'll occasionally encounter bounty hunters that are out to kill you.
I've been ambushed many times.
Yeah, 100%. And I love it. I love it when someone's like, I'm going to collect the bounty. You're not, but thanks for trying.
Yeah.
And you'll often get these great fights just in the middle of nowhere. So we should mention the story a little bit. Obviously, we're not going to go into anything deep here. We're not going to spoil the story for you, but just the general setup, if you've been following the trailers, you'll know is that Atsu has been wronged very badly by the Yotei 6, who we know as Lord Saito. He's the head of the Yotei 6, we've already mentioned. Then there's the Kitsune, the Oni, the snake, the spider, and the dragon. And the game gives you the opportunity to explore each of these branches for a long time in your own order. You can choose, okay, I want to pursue the Oni for a bit. Maybe I'll go and do some missions that are helping me track down the dragon for a bit now. But I think, again, similar to the bounties, these aren't just pantomime villains.
No, they're not. There's a lot to these characters, and obviously we're not going to spoil anything here, but yes, they were part and complicit in a terrible thing that is the driving force behind Atsu's revenge, her want for revenge. But there is a lot to these characters. There's layers, there's reasons behind it all, and it's really interesting how the story unfurls, and it gets just a little bit more complicated. It's interesting how these characters intersect.
Yeah, it's a really good character story, I find.
It is.
Whereas, Tsushima was driven by these big sort of like political war state, like there were big strokes going on here, whereas the story of Yotei feels like a more personal
Definitely.
one. And I really enjoy that against this beautiful backdrop of this amazing world.
And on that point, I enjoy Atsu as a character, I think, perhaps even more than Jin, and I loved Jin. I think Atsu is very driven, very of single mind in her mission. She wants to hunt these guys down and make them pay for what they've done, and she comes across as quite cold in that way, at least early on, and it's just interesting how her character develops in that sense as the story progresses, because she's confronted with a lot of moral dilemmas, and it's not as simple as she thinks, finding these people and making them pay. So I quite like how of single mind she is early on. I think it gives her it gives the story a real push early on. Yeah, she's a fascinating character as the story progresses. It's really, really cool.
And you get to learn a little bit more about her backstory as you progress through the story as well, so you can visit the site of your old family home. There are other points in the world where you can do this mechanic as well. But just from a technical standpoint, the ability to hold down the touchpad and instantly be transported to the past in this same place where you get to revisit key memories from Atsu's childhood, and you get to learn a little bit more about why she is the way she is and why she's doing the things she's doing.
Indeed.
Amazing.
And I think it really helps drive the whole contrast of how beautiful and colourful the home is in the past, and how warm it feels compared with how cold it is now.
It's an amazingly shocking visual switch.
It is.
When you just immediately and something beautiful that you're looking at from the past becomes this charred ruin.
It reflects Atsu's character as well, I think, in that sense. At least 100%. How she begins the story here. It's a really, being able to do that instantaneously.
The innocence of childhood. Bang.
Yeah.
The trauma and the tragedy of the adult.
Yeah.
It's an amazing example of how the technology on offer of, the PS5 is able to be utilized in a way that is emotionally impactful when it comes to telling a story.
Absolutely.
You can do it and it's impressive, where you can, massively quick loading. But here, it really actually adds something. It gives extra emotional heft, I think, to the story that Sucker Punch is trying to tell with Atsu. That I think it's one of the best implementations I've seen of being able to instantly switch from one scene to the next.
100%. That it struck me very early on. That contrast is like, wow, Atsu has been through a lot.
For sure. We've spoken for a long time, Alex.
Oh dear.
We should wrap this up. But Ghost of Yōtei arrives on PS5 on the 2nd of October. Please do stay tuned to the channel. We will have more on the game leading up to the release, after the release. It's fantastic. If you've been looking forward to this, I really don't think you'll be disappointed. Leave us a comment to let us know if you're going to be picking up the game. Don't forget to like and also subscribe and click the notification bell so you're always up to date with everything from the world of PlayStation, and we'll see you again very soon.